There's a really fantastic Japanese concept called tsundoku, which is the art of buying books and then never reading them. And I'm certainly guilty of that. When I read a book review, I immediately want to get a copy. When I'm out shopping, there's books that are constantly calling my name and I buy them. And, how often do we buy books and then never actually read them? And, maybe that's all right. Maybe we just like the aesthetic of books. Maybe we like collecting them. Maybe we like being surrounded by books. But, if you're watching this video, you're probably one of those people who wish that you actually were reading your books more often, that you weren't just buying them so they would be, sitting on your shelves, never getting read. That's what I want to talk about in this video today. If you've ever felt frustrated with yourself for not getting into those books that you've bought or downloaded onto your Kindle or tablet, and if you've ever wished that reading could become just a regular part of your daily life, this video is going to help you. Because the truth is, if we want to really read and not just buy books and then never actually read them, we don't just need the time to do it. We need a reading ritual, a ritual that enables us to come back to reading again and again and again. And that's what I want to talk about in this video today. 3 main points. The first point I want to make is why reading rituals matter more than reading goals. The second point is how we can build that rhythm and ritual that actually supports us in our reading habits so that our to be read list doesn't just continue piling up around us. And then I want to finish off strong with one simple practice that you can do today to kickstart your reading habits. If you don't know me yet, I'm Dr. Alan Johnson, and on this channel, I talk about the mind, well-being, productivity, and change for thinkers, makers, and everyone in between. So to dive in, let's begin by talking about ritual. So many of us set reading goals every year. I'm going to read 12 books this year. I'm going to read 20 pages a day. But why don't these goals actually stick? Why, after a few days or a few weeks, do most of us drift away from our reading goals? It's not just because we're lazy. It's not because we lack discipline. It's because goals are really about a performance of some sort. Goals are about how many books or how many pages. And, that's not really reading. Reading isn't a performance. Reading is a relationship with the books that we have around us. It's a relationship with the authors of the past. It's a relationship with our younger self when we first encountered a work. It's a relationship with our future self who is now going to be different because of what we have read today. So it's not about setting goals for achievement. It's about setting rituals that enable us to return. And that's how we're able to show up day after day and week after week in a world that's always encouraging us to be faster, to produce more, to scroll endlessly. And instead, we can sit there with a book and we can read it and learn from it and be changed by it. So it's not about mastering the book. It's about meeting the book and allowing it to meet us. And this is where the shift really happens. So we need to get away from the idea of thinking about books as something that we can master or control or project manage or cross off a list. Instead, we need to think about our reading habits as a relationship. And relationships are developed through ritual and routine over time, which takes us into our second part now. How do we actually build that kind of ritual with our reading? I think the most important thing is to not overcomplicate this. When we overcomplicate any new ritual or habit or routine, we are going to be far more likely to not do it, to not get there, to not show up on the day. So we need to start with something simple. And starting simple in this case for finding our reading habit could just be finding a time and place that already has a bit of ease to it. Is it those 10 minutes in the morning with your coffee? Is it right before bed? Is it on your 30-minute train or tube journey to work in the morning? Or is it even while you're waiting for the kettle to boil? The important thing here is not the length of time, but it is the regularity with which you are able to pursue it. So if you have this grand idea that you want to read War and Peace by the end of the year, great. It's a fantastic novel. It's going to change your experience of the present. It's going to cause you to look at the future differently, and it's going to enable you to reflect on past experiences through a different lens. So yeah, reading War and Peace is a great thing to do. But if you say, I'm going to read War and Peace by the end of the year, and you think, oh, I'm going to have to, read for an hour every Sunday night, or, oh, I've gotten behind, so I'm going to have to, read 500 pages before the end of the week. That's not going to serve you very well. It is not about length. It's about the regularity. If you are finding the 5 minutes every day, 365 days of the year, or if you're finding 10 minutes, or even if you're picking up a book and reading one page at the end of the day, that is the beginning of your reading ritual. And that is the beginning of your changing relationship with your reading practice. What that does is it shifts you out of that hyper-productive getting something done mode and shifts you into a sense of grounded presence, that now is the time that I read for 5 minutes. Now is the time in my day where I simply read one page. Everyone's reading ritual is going to look different. It's going to evolve and change over time. Now, we can allow ourselves to be present to these changes. We can notice how what we need to contribute to our reading in order to benefit from our reading will evolve, and we evolve with it. But the important thing here is to not overcomplicate it from the start. Find the simplest, easiest ritual that you can do today to kickstart your reading habit. And it might be something slightly different. You might light a particular candle, or light a certain type of incense, or turn on a particular YouTube channel with background music, or whatever it might be. Setting the space for reading is going to open up a new opportunity for you to encounter reading in deeper and more significant ways. So the final point I would share today is something you can do today to kickstart your reading ritual, which will fuel your reading habit. And this is super, super simple. Pick a book that you've been meaning to read, maybe something that's been on your coffee table or your nightstand or on your Kindle for ages that you haven't gotten around to. Set a timer on your phone for 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, and just read for 10 minutes. Literally nothing else. That's all you need to do. And before you dive in, just take that moment and recognize that you have overcome that first hurdle. You have begun to read this book that you've been wanting to read and that you have been putting off. You don't need to rush to sort of explain it or figure out why you were putting off reading this. Just enjoy the moment. You're not failing if something big doesn't happen. If you don't even pick the book up ever again, that's also fine. But what you can do by the end of today is just take that first action. That first action is what matters. So when we begin to shift from that constant stimulation of the world around us to a quiet, focused repetition, we start to remember why we're doing this stuff that we're doing, why we're choosing to do the things that actually matter to us. If reading matters to us, our reading ritual will help us return to it again and again. And if something in this spoke to you today, let me know in the comments, how is your reading practice developing? And if you want to continue developing more of this type of contemplative outlook in life and developing good daily practices, rituals, and habits, I'll pop a link in the comments below to my online course, which takes you through a full month of day-by-day practices that will help deepen this experience for you. So let me know in the comments how you're getting on, and I will see you next time.